21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
We went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident.
Elon can't do and won't do anything without our approval, and we'll give him the approval where appropriate. Where not appropriate, we won't. But he reports in, and it's something that he feels very strongly about, and I'm impressed because he's running, obviously, a big company. It has nothing to do if there's a conflict that we won't let him get near it.
Elon Musk, who some people like him, some don't, but he's not a dummy. He's a very successful business person. He's got a top secret security clearance. President Trump issued an executive order, and he turned to Mr. Musk. And he said, Mr. Musk, I want you to do for me what I said I was going to do in the election. I want you to go through all the spending. But I'll tell you what Mr. Musk discovered. I find it fascinating. He discovered that the American taxpayers are giving money to Afghanistan. He found that we are giving money to Yemen. He found that we are giving money to Syria. I didn't know that. Some of our foreign aid is going to Yemen, Afghanistan, Syria. He found that the USAID has 10,000 people, employees. And every year they give away $40 billion. He found that the USAID gave money to support electric vehicles in Vietnam. Our money, taxpayer money. He found that USAID gave money to a transgender clinic in India. I didn't know that. The American people didn't know that. He found that
of justice turned slowly but surely, and I think probably the person that stole 400,000 Social Security numbers, at least, maybe more, will be arrested hopefully this week.
They'll send the money overseas to one NGO, then it'll go through a bunch of them, and then I'm highly confident that a bunch of that money then comes back to the United States and lands in the pockets of the people you just mentioned. It doesn't go directly, but let's just say that there's a lot of strangely wealthy members of Congress. I'm trying to connect the dots of how did they become rich while earning, how'd they get 20 million if they're earning 200,000 a year?
All right, Valor CEO and DOGE volunteer Antonio Gracias, the guy you just saw, was just with Musk in Wisconsin over the weekend. He joins us from the North Lawn. Antonio, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
That's a jaw-dropping number. Where did all those people come from?
Well, it made my jaw drop too when I saw it. You know, we were in Social Security looking for fraud, waste, and abuse, and to do that, we actually looked at the enumeration system, the system by which people get numbers in America. And we found that there were just about 5+ million of them that came to the country as illegals, were giving various forms of parole or allowed in the country, and they got through an automatic system, Social Security numbers, so they get into our benefit systems. And we tracked that through and found that they were on the benefit programs. And just because we were curious, we then looked to see if they were on the voter rolls. And we found in a handful of cooperative states that there were thousands of them on the voter rolls and that many of them had voted.
That's crazy, because you cannot vote in a federal election, but I think in certain local elections you can. But, you know, once you get a Social Security number, that helps you do a lot of stuff. I know, Antonio, part of this started with a program from, I think, 2017 that got started, where if people came into the country and they were authorized to work, they would automatically give them a number. But, you know, Elon was talking a little bit about how 400,000 Social Security numbers were stolen. It was one person. What can you tell us about that?
You know, that's an ongoing investigation, so I don't know how much I can tell you. But we did find, as we looked through the programs, a particular employee that had actually sent themselves Social Security numbers through their email for reasons we don't understand, but clearly nefarious.
Yeah, it does sound like it. So let me ask you this, Antonio. Have you figured out, you saw these millions of people, non-citizens, on the Social Security rolls. Did they get benefits?
Yes, we actually tracked them through the benefit programs. We found them in virtually all the benefit programs. And one statistic for you is we found 1.3 million of them on Medicare.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen to those people?
Look, we referred people that were registered to vote, which is a federal crime, and people that voted to ICE, to DHS, and to the DOJ. They've committed to prosecute. And I think it's super important to point out here that none of this would have happened without President Trump. I mean, President Trump had the courage to allow us to go across databases. He signed an executive order. It's never been done before, where agencies could talk to each other and databases could talk to each other. That allowed us to connect all this data to find these people across the system, across the benefit systems, all the way to the voting records.
Yeah.
It really took a lot of courage.
Antonio, you know, you're a big shot business guy. You know what you're doing in your business. When you went in, I can't think of the last time somebody essentially audited the Social Security Administration, aside from the federal government. But, you know, they've got all these kind of antiquated, crazy rules. Like, I know you uncovered millions of people over the age of 120 and just recently kicked them off the rolls, right?
Yes, that's correct. We did an audit of the entire system, enumeration system for Social Security. And look, the reality is the people in the government know this. There are many, very good people that are helping us. We couldn't have found this stuff without them. We need them to point us in the right direction, and then we looked at the data. So, you know, if you ask people the right questions, they will give you the answers, and they want to help.
Yeah. Antonio, exit question for you. Given all of the abuses you've already found and these people who are getting federal benefits who should not, do you have a price tag on how much you guys are saving the American taxpayer just from Social Security?
I mean, look, it's in the billions. You know, you saw the fraud on the phone lines itself. That was about $1.5 billion. And I would guess at Social Security already we're north of $10 billion.
Okay. Well, the meter's running. Antonio, thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for volunteering.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Think of it, $100 million on condoms to Hamas. Condoms to Hamas. And many other things that are frankly even more ridiculous. And they're finding tremendous waste.
It was inevitable that at least a few Soros operatives would be in the audience. USA.
Yes, we did. Some